And good afternoon, folks. Chief Meteorologist Nick Lilia here, taking a look at your tropical update for August 11th of 2020, brought to you by the folks over there at Pine Belt Gutters and Remodeling. Up next on the old list is Josephine, and we may be getting close to having a Josephine floating around in the tropics. A wide view of what's happening out there in the Caribbean, not much Gulf of Mexico. For the most part, nice and clear. One little cluster of convection that you can see barely off the screen way out over here, and that's the area that the National Hurricane Center has been keeping tabs on over the last couple of days, and now it has a name. It is Tropical Depression number 11, so not quite sure why TD11 didn't show up in there, but it is Tropical Depression number 11. Scooting on through at 16 miles an hour off to the west, wind at 35 miles an hour, gusting to 45. Now about 1,100 miles off to the west-southwest of the Cabo Verde Islands. This thing's going to make a run at the northern edge of the Greater and Lesser Antilles, so a little bit closer to the Greater Antilles, near Puerto Rico, and perhaps even off to the north of that. We head through Saturday into Sunday. This is currently anticipated to become a tropical storm as we head through the day on Thursday and into Friday. It could make an outside run at becoming a hurricane. The problem that you run into is that right about in this ballpark, you start getting into a little bit of trough action and a fair amount of dry air in here as well. And so it's going to run into a more hostile environment, not a great place to be if you're a tropical system. And that's the official forecast cone. A lot of the models are following right along suit with the National Hurricane Center. Have it by Saturday into the rough neighborhood, again, of the Greater and Lesser Antilles in here. From there, it actually stays reasonably still close together as we head through Sunday and into next week. Now, beyond that, it does look like this thing is going to try and make a turn off to the north, and I think the European model here on our 700 millibar moisture 850 vorticity map spells that out pretty well. You can see TD11 back over here. Of course, with these things, we're always looking for the bullseye. You find the bullseye, you find a tropical system. In fact, we've got one Elita out here, or Elita, sorry, out there in the Pacific as well. But we'll just watch TD11, again, cruise just off to the north of the islands there, and Curlicue well off to the north, and stays out to sea. I mentioned to Steve, our evening anchor here, a couple of weeks ago, I said, Josephine just sounds like a fish storm. So hopefully if this does get a name, and it does get the name Josephine, that it is truly a fish storm and it doesn't really bother anybody. Beyond this point, Monday into Tuesday, really nothing doing out into the tropics as we get toward kind of Wednesday into Thursday next week. Maybe another wave out here, maybe something trying to get developed into the Gulf of Mexico, but we've got a fair amount of dry air in the Gulf and between whatever's out there in the Atlantic and the Gulf of Mexico. So at least for the Gulf Coast states, not as much to worry about as we head through the middle of August. Now, activity may start to pick up, but for now, it doesn't look like anything imminent out there knocking on the door of the Gulf of Mexico. So there's your tropical update for August 11th of 2020, brought by the folks over there at Pine Belt Gutters and Remodeling.